Hello guys, today I'm going to discuss about the term cost sheet. First I'll introduce myself. I am Dr. Ambuli. I am working as Associate Professor in Department of Commerce in SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Ramabharam Campus, Chennai. Today we are going to discuss about what is the term cost sheet. First we'll see what is the term cost. Whenever when you are manufacturing a product or providing any service, definitely we are incurring some amount of expenses. Those expense only we can call as cost. The next we are going to see what is the term cost accounting. So usually when you are involved with any financial nature with respect to value of money, we want to record all those transactions. Similarly, the cost also incurred with involved with value of money. That's why we are entering all the expenses in the book of accounts, so that you can call as cost accounting. The next we'll see what is the term costing. So we can technique refers to the tools or the methods which are followed for recording the cost. So when you are in the manufacturing place, we are incurred expenses in different aspect. So you want to know the expenses in a different way. For example, when you are entering into a product, raw material into a machine, it entered various stages and it becomes a finished product. So we want to know that what is the expenses incurred at each stage. So uh, in such a case we want to calculate the expenses for the particular stage. So that is one of the method or a technique we can call as the process costing method. When you are involving in manufacturing, we are incurred with we involved with various activity. We want to know each activity what is the expense incurred. That is called as activity based costing, like that. So we have different techniques or different method or tools which are used to find out the expenses for the various aspect. That is called as costing. The next we are going to see what is the term cost accountancy. Cost accountancy refers to the rules and regulation which we have followed while computing cost, cost accounting and costing. That only we can call as cost accountancy. The next we'll see what are the different classification of cost. Basically, costs are classified into two types. Number one will be direct cost and number two will be indirect cost. So the first one, what is the term direct cost? Direct cost refers to the cost which directly involved in manufacturing a product or providing a service. Such cost only we can call as direct cost. So directly it involved at the time of manufacturing. That's why it is called direct cost. So under direct cost, we have different type of elements or expenses are incurred. That one will be a material, another one will be labor, and third one will be expenses. So in the case of material, we can call as direct material, labor we can call as direct labor, and third one expenses we can call as direct expenses. The next one we can call as indirect cost. What is the term indirect cost? Cost which is not directly involved in manufacturing a product, but without this expense we can't complete the production process. So such cost only we can call as indirect cost. For example, we can take a labor. So in order to manufacture a product, we are using a labor. Labor is a person who was talented in the particular aspect, in the particular skill he has acquired only in the particular area of operation, but he will not have a knowledge in other aspects. So kind of monotonously you will work, continuously you are working, and he or she may expertise in that particular job. So continuously you will work without his assistant, without the labor we can't manufacture the operation of a product. So he directly involved in manufacturing. That's why you can call it as a direct labor, or you can call it as direct expenses. In order to monitor that labor, the person who's having a knowledge in various aspects, he'll monitor the labor and other aspect in the production place. Those person we can call as manager or foreman. So so here this without foreman also without manager also uh, we can't say that production task will be completed. But so the main in the case of production process, without labor the product will not they will not manufacture. So that's why, so we need labor. For those labor we are paying wages. That wages only we can call as a direct expenses. And paying salary to a foreman or manager, that person not directly involved but is part of that production process. For that he required for the production process. So in such a case, the salary which you are paying to a foreman or foreman or to a manager, we can call it as an indirect expenses. Similarly for material as well as for direct expenses. Okay, so indirect costs, I think so now we can able to follow. So the indirect cost refers to the cost not directly involved with the production process, but without these expenses we can't complete the production. So that's why this type of expenses we can call as indirect cost. So under indirect cost we have different classification. One is office and administrative cost, selling and distribution cost, and manufacturing overhead or factory cost or factory overhead. The next one we are going to discuss about the term cost sheet. So cost already we have discussed is nothing but the expenses. Sheet refers to is nothing but is a statement. So the statement which contain different type of expenses for a particular production or a particular activity for a specific period. That statement only we can call as cost sheet. So this cost sheet includes direct cost as well as indirect cost. Okay, so whenever any expenses involve direct to a production or indirect to a production, all those expenses you want to record systematically in this statement. Okay, so in the cost sheet you can able to find out what is the total cost incurred for a particular product or for a particular production, and also you can able to find out what is the cost per unit. That is, for 10,000 unit the cost is 1 lakh rupees. What is the 1 unit cost also you can able to find out with the help of cost sheet. The next we are going to see what are the characteristics or features of cost sheet. Cost sheet is a statement designed in order to find out what is the total cost incurred for a particular output or for a product or for a service, and also it provides the breakup of various stages of cost in the production process. That is the first and foremost feature in cost sheet. For example, if you take a manufacturing organization, we have different places involved in manufacturing center. One will be, that is, in the factory floor. In the factory floor itself, we have two classification. So directly we are purchasing a raw material and entering a raw material and into a factory or a store, and labor who is specialized in a particular aspect in a job due to a monotonously they are committed with a continuous involved in the particular job, that is labor. Then other expenses which are directly involved while purchasing a raw material, we are involved with paying, considering the labor. All this aspect we can call as direct expenses. So this is the first component involved in cost sheet that we can call as prime cost. The next one, in the factory, the second division is factory. In the factory, we have machines. In the machines only, we are going to use the input as a raw material, and it processed into various stages with the help of a labor, and it brings into a product. So in the factory floor, what are the expenses incurred? Those expenses we can call as factory cost. Then simultaneously, we have a division in the manufacturing organization called as office in order to take care of the administrative activities. So those aspect we can call, what are the expenses incurred in administrative place, we can call as office cost or a cost of production. Then once the product as manufactured, they will not keep in the production place itself. What they will do, they want to sell those product. So they will incur, they will involve with, in order to sell the product, they will involve with the quality checking, packing, uh, uh, all this aspect we are doing with help of salesman, advertising. So in order to promote the sales, they are incurring some expenses in this division, that is all selling and distribution overhead. Then at last we want to sell the product to a consumer, that we can call as sales. All these aspects we are involved in the cost sheet, we can call as breakup cost or element of cost. This cost sheet also provides the total cost for the product as well as per unit cost for the particular product. Then this cost sheet we are prepared for a specific period. It may be daily or hourly or monthly or yearly or quarterly or based on the convenience of the organization. It involves the total component of cost for a product or a service, and also it divides the statement. It involves the various subdivision of various aspects of cost in a logical order under different aids. The cost, the summarizing statement of all expenses in a single statement only we can call as cost sheet. The next one, we are going to see what are the uses of a cost sheet. The first usage, we can able to find out what is the total cost involved for a single product as well as for the total product. And also it helpful for to control the cost, and also it helpful to compare your actual cost with your planned one, and also it also helpful to compare your current year cost with your previous year cost, and also it helpful to know where you have more deviation in your cost. So you can, it will guide you to take steps to reduce your or minimize your expenditure, and also helpful to frame a definite policy with respect to cost, and also it gives an idea or it helpful to fix your selling price at the time of sales. So all these aspect, this cost sheet will provide assistance to the in the to the management decision. The next one, we are going to see about the element of cost. So when you say as an element of cost time, when you are manufacturing a product, definitely we are involved with different component. One is material, number two is labor and expenses. Without these three element or component, will not success with your production. So the first element is nothing but material. When you talk about each element have direct as well as indirect cost. First we'll see about what is the term material. So when you are doing a production, without material we can't produce a product. So material is one of the important element while in the production place. So it carries more percentage of expenses among in the total cost. There are two type of material. One is direct material, another one is indirect material. So direct material is nothing but the material directly involved in the manufacturing or manufacturing a product or in the producing the product. For example, you are manufacturing a table. In such a case, wood is your wood is your direct material, because without wood you can't manufacture a wooden table. So that's why wood is a direct material. For example, cloth. When you want to manufacture cloth, which one is required? Jute is a material. Without jute we can't manufacture cloth. When you say indirect material for the wooden table, it's nothing with the nails, the gum, the glue, all those. What are the, in order to manufacture a table, what are the assistant material, additional material required? So if the glue is not there, you can use some other aspect. If your nail is not there, you can something, but you can able to manage. But without that, we can't manufacture table. So such a type of material only we can call as indirect material. Similarly, we are going to see about what is labor. The labor is a person who is working in an organization for the wages. So he or she will work with the help of a guy not having a skill. Yes, earning a talent based on the monotonously he is doing committed with a particular job. There are two type of labor. One is direct labor, another one is indirect labor. So direct labor is nothing but the carpenter only we can for preparing for manufacture wooden table. So without carpenter we can't manufacture table. So the carpenter is a direct labor, and indirect labor is nothing but the foreman or the manager who is taking care not only the labor, not only the carpenter, the other aspect in the organization. Those person only we can call as indirect labor. The next one will be the expenses. Again, the third element, expense, also classified into two categories. One is direct expenses, another one is indirect expenses. So in the manufacturing process, what are the expenses which are incurred directly? Those expenses only we can call as direct expenses. And in order to manufacture product, we need some more, we want to bear some more expenses. Without that expenses we can't complete the task. For example, administrative expenses. So in the office, we need a person as an accountant to look after to maintain the account. So he'll not involved with the factory, but he'll maintaining the what are the processes carried on in the factory. All those are financial nature he'll maintain in the office. So the accountant is administrative staff. So is a indirect expenses. And a person who is working as a carpenter in a factory, in a factory floor, or the foreman who's in the factory floor, all those we can call as a direct expenses. So in the case of indirect expenses, we have factory expenses, administrative and office expenses, selling and distribution expenses. All these expenses we can take into consideration as indirect expenses. Okay guys, next we will discuss, in the next class we will discuss about the what are the classification of cost sheet, how to prepare the cost sheet. Thank you guys.